Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. Within this podcast, we're going to focus on self improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 85 of my journey. It is Friday, March 26, 2021. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days out of the year, all outside bearing the elements, whatever it may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,250 miles within this time frame of the year. This is my second year ever running. Last year, I was able to run 1,000 miles in my first ever year running. I started running in late 2019, October. Something just kind of snapped, and I wanted to change my lifestyle and my life from partying all the time and not really taking care of myself or my health, or really thinking about a lot of things that could help me in the long run. I just kind of lived in the moment. So something just snapped one day in 2019. I started running, and I challenged myself in 2020, before the pandemic and everything even hit, to run 1,000 miles, which I was able to do, and to run my first ever marathon. The official marathon was canceled in 2020, so I was able to run one, but it was an unofficially timed marathon. I finished within, I think, 5 hours and 22 minutes. So this year, like I said, I'm challenging myself to run 1,250 miles. So it's a 25% step up from what I ran last year. Last year, I think I ran just under 180 days as well. So this will be a 100% step up in the amount of days I plan to run this year. I also do plan to run another marathon, actually officially timed, and I really want to pick up my pace from the unofficially timed one that I did. And that's my goal, is to I want to at least shave an hour off it. And I know that's it sounds crazy, and it's definitely going to be kind of hard. But my official goal going into it in 2020 was to try to get it around 4 hours. But I went over an hour and a half or hour and 20 minutes. So I'm trying to maybe get around 4 hours and 22 minutes. Would be a nice time for me to do my second ever marathon. Who knows? Maybe I can even pick the pace up with the amount of time and stuff I got in between then. That marathon will be in October, and it is the Detroit Free Press International Marathon. It starts in Detroit. You run across the Ambassador Bridge into Windsor, run off, I think, 8 miles or so in Canada, and then you cross back over under the tunnel through the Detroit River. So it's a really cool race. I'm really looking forward to it in October and when that comes up. Also this year, though, I am running my first ever 50K. It's a trail race. It is in Yankee Springs, Michigan. I'm really excited about that. Nervous as well, but I'm hoping I can maybe finish that race, the 50K, within the time frame that I finished my first unofficial marathon. So I'm hoping I can get around 5 hours, 22 minutes. I don't want to go really much longer than that. But we'll see where we end up, because it's a whole different ball game when you're doing trail races, especially with the elevation. You're not running on road, you're not running on nice pavement, you're running on uneven ground, uphill, downhill, rocks, roots. There's so many elements that aren't in just regular running. So then you're running 31 miles on top of running in the trail through elevation. It's going to be definitely a big step up for me to try to accomplish this year. But I'm really looking forward to it, and that is in June. So we're not too far away from the 50K that is before the marathon that I'll be doing this year, and we're only a couple months away from that. Training's been going so good so far. Like I said, I've been running every day. It's probably not the best thing to do these 50Ks in and try to still run every day of the year. That's probably going to be one of the hardest challenges, is to run the 50K and then the next day get out there and still run I've been trying to run just a mile at least a day. I've been averaging, I don't think I've actually ran a mile. I think the least amount I ran was 1.5. I've always ran a mile and a half, but my goal is to run at least a mile a day. So the day after that 50K, I'm going to try to at least put a mile out. We'll see how that goes and how it feels. The last few times I ran just the half marathon, I ran a couple of days. I ran sometimes. I think one of the half marathons I ran a 10K after it, but most of the times I run that marathon and I get a couple of days of just a mile and a half after the half marathons, and I feel my legs kind of not too beat, but I can feel it definitely. So it'll be a big challenge to go from the 50K and as well as just the the regular old marathon in October. That also will be a challenge when we cross that bridge. But let's kind of get into numbers real quick, guys. Like I said, today is day 85. Today I went out there with my dog Daisy. We put in 2.3 around the neighborhood. Didn't do nothing too crazy. She kept me at a slow pace, which was nice. I am kind of falling behind on my mileage, which I expected after the baby came. So I'm thinking about maybe pumping out a couple big days, maybe tomorrow and Sunday, just trying to get some good mileage in. Maybe do hour and a half runs each day, maybe just under hour and a half. We'll see where we go. We'll see what we get. Technically, I'm 23 miles short of what I wanted for the week currently, with 2 days left, Saturday and Sunday. So I was thinking maybe I'd pump out a 10 and a 13. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm at 9.9 for the week. And for the year, for my yearly goal was 1250. I am 347 miles in. So I'm only 903 miles away from hitting that yearly goal. So already knocked out a big, huge chunk out of it. Feeling good about it. Feeling great. But let's talk about some other miles real quick. Realizing that goal that I would have to hit 1250, I realized I would have to average at least 100 miles every month. Obviously, so I decided every month I would do a 100-mile challenge and do it in honor of different charities. January we raised money for the American Cancer Society. February we raised money for the Detroit Black Community Food Security Network, and now currently in March we are raising money for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. We have raised not too much, but we raised a good amount of money so far, and the fundraiser is still open, and it will be open until April 7th, guys. So if you guys can, please go on the Defining Discipline Instagram or Facebook page and look on the stories. You can find the link there, or as well as my personal Facebook or Instagram page. You can find the link to donate as well in those stories. I post it every single day in the stories. You can find the link there. If you click on the link, it'll open up another page where you can donate through Facebook. And all donations go directly to the fundraiser. Facebook takes zero cut, so it's a really cool thing to continue to do these fundraisers through Facebook, knowing that they're not getting any percentage, just the actual charities are. March being Women's History Month and National Reading Month, I wanted to do the fundraiser for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library because she is a historical woman, as well as her charity helps to raise awareness and helps kids read for National Reading Month. So I thought that would be a perfect fundraiser to do. So if you guys can donate, you don't have to go crazy with it, but even $5 helps, the littlest amount. Whatever you guys can donate, it goes a long way. But I get it, right now times are tough, so if you can't donate, don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're not helping out. If you really want to help out and you can't afford to pay, the best thing you can do is to share this fundraiser so other people can see it. Other people will be able to donate, and we can raise awareness and help these charities get the money they deserve and the money they need. Other than that, guys, though, let's just kind of get right into today's episode. Today's day 85. I want to talk about something that I've been lacking for the longest time, and as of now, it's something every day I try to work on. And it wasn't until recently when I started listening to one of the most influential speakers in my life, and authors and things like that, or a man. I'm not going to mention anything because I don't want to even put it down a certain road. But someone I listen to and enjoy listening to and follow, and they talk about it a lot. And it really changed my perspective on it. So I kind of want to talk about that today. And for that to be that, let's get into it. Today is day 85, episode 85. And for today, the episode's theme is going to be responsibility. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that life, no matter what, is always going to be hard, and there's going to be suffering, and there's going to be times when I talked about it yesterday in Euphoria's episode, where things aren't always euphoric. Things don't seem like they're working out always for you or in your best interest. And in those times, it can get really depressing, and you can fall into a bad habit of thinking that there's no way out and what's the purpose, and you can fall into a real bad depression. And which something else we've talked about is compound interest and stuff in this, and you can continuously get so depressed that you just put yourself farther and farther into that hole. It's kind of like that old saying, you just keep digging yourself in a hole so far that you can't even climb yourself out. That is kind of what happens when tragedy and stuff happens in your life. But one of the main things to not necessarily cope with tragedy or suffering, but one thing that makes it kind of, I don't want to say tolerable, but you can kind of withstand it, and it gives it its own I don't know. I don't want to say tolerable, but it makes it easier on you, is to adopt some responsibility. And that's something that I always, try to avoid that was my goal for the longest time, is to avoid any kind of responsibility. It was to, just live day by day, go out and party and live selfishly. And, I just I never did anything that made me responsible for myself or for others. And I never had that thing to steer me and keep me on the right track of, having to do things. And now being a father, even before I became a father, but now, 2 days in, and it's the only thing I can think about is, now I am responsible for this living human being, and I have to make sure, now she's number one in my life. And it's so weird how things can instantly change your perspective and your outlook on life. And, now it's like everything that once kind of like mattered, or it kind of flirted with my attention, or, made me think like, oh, this is interesting, like this would be cool. It's like all of that kind of just like goes to the wayside, and then you get this feeling where you're focusing on one thing, and it's like it's my daughter, and now I know I have to own up and take some responsibility in order to to raise her and be able to I'm kind of brain farting, I'm sorry guys, but to raise her and be able to support her. And I want to be there and make sure she has what she needs and all of that. And it's not even just about her, but it's like I wanted to adopt the responsibility. Once I started adopting some responsibility and making things harder on myself, it was in those times, like I said before, when I had no responsibility, and I would fall deeper and deeper into a hole. For whatever reason, at that time, I was falling into that hole. Whatever the cause of the depression was, I didn't have anything, one, to keep my mind off it, or something hard to do, a responsibility that once I got it done, it boosted my confidence that, if I can deal with this hard thing, and I'm responsible for making this work, that I can take on anything. And it's very empowering once you start taking responsibility for the things that maybe you've been avoiding taking responsibility for in your life. And like I said, for the longest time I have lacked lots and lots and lots of responsibility. It was something that for the longest time I tried to avoid. Even in lots of the jobs I've had, it's like they would offer me a better position. A prime example, I used to work at Sam's Club, years and years ago. And I got hired in as cart guy. And I really actually enjoyed it. I liked being outside, even in the winter. They had a cart a thing that pushed the carts for you. All you had to do is press a button and line the carts up, and then just corral them, throw them in the thing, and then just keep going. I would throw my jams in, and I'd just walk around for 8 hours collecting carts, winter, summer, and I actually enjoyed it. It was nice. And then they actually laid me off during the winter, right after Christmas, right after a season or whatever. They laid me off. But then when summer hit again, they called me back, but they didn't want to bring me. They liked my work ethic because I never complained. I was always on time, always did what I wanted, or always not what I wanted to do, but always did what they wanted me to do, and I was just a good worker. And they seen that and recognized that. Even though they laid me off, they called me back I think like 4 or 5 months later, and they actually wanted to give me a raise and move my position up into a cashier. And I remember I went in, and then the responsibility list just got higher and higher, and it's like more pay, but it's more responsibility, and it's like I didn't want that. I didn't want that responsibility, and part of it was I didn't want the responsibility. Part of it was I had that fear of talking, the actual one-on-one communication with strangers. It was something I always also tried to always avoid, so that was really hard. And I actually, I went in there, went through all my training, and I don't even think I think day one when I was actually supposed to cashier, they were short someone in the bakery, and they had me go in the bakery, and I loved working in there with the coworkers and baking stuff. That was really fun. But then like day one when they actually went to put me on the cashier, I was like, I just can't do this. I can't take the responsibility. I don't want to handle the cash. I don't want to have to talk with customers when something's wrong, and I don't want to deal with that responsibility. And it literally held me back, and it continuously will hold me back until I can be responsible, until I can take on that responsibility. I'm always going to be that same person. I'm always going to, not want to take on that responsibility because I'm scared, or I didn't want the extra work because it's too hard. But realizing once I start taking on more responsibility, I start to have more meaning. I start to have more pride in my work. I start to have more pride in myself. My confidence gets built up. So responsibility is something that every day, even though I got a pretty full plate right now with the things I am doing with this podcast and the running every day and being a new father, and then just trying to get all the work done around the house and everything that's going on in my life, I know I have all these responsibilities, and it's super hard, but it keeps me going. It keeps me wanting more, and keeps me pushing and trying to become the best version of myself possible. So I don't want to get too much farther into this episode. We're already pretty deep, and it's been a longer episode out of the past couple days. We've talked about my miles. We've talked about responsibility. I can go on for days about responsibility and break this down. We might even do a follow-up episode maybe with this topic. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But the point is responsibility. It is something that we all need, and it's something that we all try to take that burden off. We all try to get rid of responsibility, but I think the more responsibility you put on your plate, maybe in your head at the moment you think this sucks and I hate it, but I think in the long run, I think mentally overall it's better, and physically overall it's all better for you to take on that responsibility and to bear your burdens. So that being said, today for episode 85, your daily discipline is to take some responsibility. Figure out where it is in your life. Maybe it's at your job, like I said mine was. Maybe it's maybe you are a parent, and maybe you are responsible for some kids, but maybe you haven't been responsible enough, and maybe you've let them kind of do their own thing. Maybe you should, whatever it is that I don't know who you are or what is you are lacking your responsibility in, but you personally know yourself. So whatever it is, think of what it is that you could become better responsible at, and try to figure out where you lack some responsibility and where you can put some more responsibility to try to become a better version of yourself. So whatever it may be, like I said, job, kids, I don't know, I can't think of really two more examples, but whatever the responsibility and the burden that you are bearing, you need to figure it out and try to get as much responsibility in your life as possible, and just try it out. Like I said, see what happens when you start adding more things that you're responsible for in your life. Yes, your life will get harder, but honestly, I want, if you try this, maybe think like, yes, it will get harder, but maybe it has meaning. Maybe there's more value to your life, and at least that's what I have experienced out of taking on some responsibility. So if your daily discipline, it is to take on responsibility in whatever aspect it is personally for you that you need to take on that responsibility. Other than that, though, guys, thank you so much for listening. 85 episodes, 85 days, whole bunch of miles. Let's see, 347 miles total. Let's keep it going, baby. 86 is tomorrow. I got a good theme that I don't have anything written out for it. I might work on a little bit of talking points tonight, but I got a good theme for tomorrow. 86. I'll see you guys tomorrow. This is the Defining Discipline podcast with your host, Scott. That's who I am. If you guys can, please give this podcast a like, a subscribe, a follow, and a share. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and whatever podcast streaming platform you listen on. Other than that, guys, though, 85 in the books. Make sure you guys stay disciplined. I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 86. Peace out.